The Hedgeless Horseman here. It's October the 18th, 2024. Yeah, first of all, thanks to the sponsors. Let's look at the day so far. Gold is doing very well. We actually broke out of 2,700 on the gold futures yesterday, and it's kind of kept going up. Silver has reclaimed 32 and is doing quite well. I think it's close to an 11-year high actually. I mean, gold is obviously $700 over the the long-term all-time high, which is around 19 or 2000 2011. So gold has been kicking basically every metal's ass for a long time, and that's why again, if we're talking actual value right now and longer term is hard to say. I mean, the only thing we really know on any given day is the price what we pay for a company, and the exact price of metals on that day. And that price can change obviously both for the company and the price of the metal tomorrow. I mean, it's gonna change, and then it can change the day after, yada yada. But that's the only certain things we have on any given day. What the actual metal price is right now, and what the price of a company is. And I've said this for quite some time. I mean, I used to find I wasn't really involved in silver juniors until almost pretty much, I would say, at the bottom some months ago. Because I always felt that silver juniors were kind of chronically overvalued. They were always pricing in my opinion, a higher silver price than the current silver price. At least relative to gold. I mean, that's my point I'm trying to make, I guess, is that if we're talking pure value, uh, if we're if we're talking pure value, the some of the gold juniors out there, they have NPVs. They have, at face values for their portfolios at easily 10 times the market caps of the gold of the what they're priced at. I mean, Integra, I've talked about when they merge. I mean, they will have 10 million ounces. The NPVs for Florida Canyon and Integra or Delamar at spot gold and spot silver, because Delamar has a lot of silver. I bet it's beyond $1 billion each. So that's already $2 billion. Then Florida Canyon, I don't know, for 400 million. So that's 2.3, 2.4 billion. Then the obvious exploration potential, add a few hundred million. Then all the other exploration potential, etc., etc. So right now on paper, one could say, I think that Integra post merger will probably have a value of like 3 billion at face value. I think the market cap of the combined entity right now is around 250 million. It used to be that you actually needed to take a lot of exploration risk to find stocks that could basically go up 10 times or more. I think that's present in some of the best gold developers slash advanced explorers slash producers. For silver, their projects probably look very good at current silver prices as well. Silver is, however, very tricky because, as you know, I mean, silver has sucked the most out of all the metals. So I think there's very few that have been making money in. Well, if we're talking silver miners, I mean, it's very hard to be a silver miner. The only silver miner, or one of few silver miners, at least juniors that I know that have done well, would be Silvercrest Metals. And they recently got bought out or are getting bought out for around $2 billion. What's fascinating is that Silvercrest has like ASIC margin of, I think it was 172 million USD per year at spot silver price at $32. Uh, the combined assets, now they're not in production, but the combined assets that Integra has on their books, for example, if they were in production at the same time, and that might happen within, I don't know, 3 to 5 years, let's say, that they're literally in production, they would do much more than that. I think they would do over double that. So I mean, okay, you pay $2 billion for a ASIC or a mine with ASIC margin of 172 million USD. Borssele at spot gold would, in my opinion, very probably have a higher ASIC margin per year than Silvercrest. And again, Silvercrest got bought for 2 billion and they are in Mexico. So, I mean, I've seen some people complain about the Silvercrest acquisitions, like, oh, they got bought out too soon, I wanted to ride it more. Yeah, I can see that, but it's like, to me, I think it's, you should, relatively speaking, I don't see how you can be complaining about a $2 billion payday. Because not long ago, that was like 8 times the market cap, again, of an Integra. Or more than 20 times a First Nordic. And if you had $2 billion today, would you rather own over 20 First Nordics or one Silvercrest? Or let's say 10 Integras or one Silvercrest? I mean, it goes without saying, 10 Integras would be 100 million ounces in the US. And each of those 10 Integras have 3 projects, and one is a producing mine. So in a sense, I just use that sometimes to highlight which ones are cheap, but ones are like ridiculously, absurdly cheap. Because I can't get myself to, let's say, buy a Silvercrest for $2 billion when I know I could, buy Integra for 200 million or First Nordic for 80 million. Because like both of those companies, when their assets are up and running, I think they will be much better than Silvercrest. And they're selling for a fraction of Silvercrest. So that's just an example I like to do, because again, I'm always fully invested, so I always have to look at stores relatively speaking, because I can think that, I might think that Silvercrest is a buy, or should say, maybe I thought Silvercrest was cheap, but it's like, when I compare it to what else I can buy, I'm not willing to sell a share of First Nordic or Integra or anyone else for that matter to buy Silvercrest at 2 billion. There's no way. There's no way I'm prepared to do that. And that doesn't mean Silvercrest is a seller or anything like that. I mean, it's lower risk, yada yada, despite being in Mexico, but it is still a low risk, because they have proven that they are in production. They're doing cash flow right now. If silver is just in a 2-year bull market and then crashes, I mean, they will have had 2 good years. So again, I'm not, just because I don't own anything or doesn't own something, doesn't mean it's like I think it's a sell. No, I'm simply after, I want to steal, literally steal as much value as I can. And I think, again, there are stories where you can steal much more than you could steal in Silvercrest. And still I see people are kind of not upset, but like I would want to have more. And maybe that's true. Maybe Silvercrest was worth 2.5 billion. Again, that is not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that if I had to choose, which I do, I'll go for the cheaper. I don't want the cheap companies. I want the cheapest of the cheapest with the best risk reward that I can possibly find across hundreds of companies. Anyway, that's it. Let's first look at some posts. This is kind of funny. I got this recently today from an industry veteran, and he messaged me like, monumental day, amazing run up in the gold price. The post 2006 run up wasn't like this. This is far more explosive. I wasn't around back then, so I had no idea. But it's fun to hear. It's like someone who remembers that. There's like, this is even more violent. This is even stronger. That's kind of cool, actually. And still, that's the funny part. Still, these gold juniors are dirt cheap, absolutely dirt cheap. But we're gonna get to that. Another post. Just a reminder when I did this yesterday, because I think it was yesterday. I was already seeing, top calls and correction calls for metals and all that. And I remember this kinda, and I went back and looked to confirm it. So I wrote just a reminder that when the miners GDXJ got going in 2016, they still went higher despite gold starting a multi-month sideways consolidations with corrections. So here you have gold at wherever level that was, maybe 1300. A few months later or several months later, gold was at the same price. But you can see what GDXJ did during that time. So this would be here. So when gold got back to the same level, few to several months later, GDXJ had gone from here to here. So that's the funny. We've been punished when we bounced around below 2000. When we got up to 2000 again for the fourth time or whatever, juniors just kept going lower and lower. So same gold price. We came back to the same gold price. Junior miners and miners overall went down. So if you were right that, hey, gold is not actually going to fall much for the next 1 or 2 years, juniors, gold miners went down. In this case, a shorter time frame, but if you knew that, gold, I know for a fact, God told me gold is gonna correct and consolidate for the next X amount of months. If you knew that for sure, I bet you would probably sell gold miners and stuff. And in hindsight, that would have been a bad call because they kept going. I mean, this is quite a big move actually. So when gold didn't perform, the gold miners performed. So keep that in mind, because like always, I already see people some people don't want to buy because they think a correction is near at hand, talking about the gold price, yada, yada, yada. So it's like, that's scared money, of course. And they most certainly never bought the lows, the recent lows. They didn't buy, well, I don't have a chart right now. But this is what always happens. Like, they didn't buy low. They might have bought back in now or thinking of buying back, but now they're worried about the correction. And let's say we don't have a correction soon. I mean, today, for example, sentiment is very high. Okay, let's say 1-2 more of this, and that might get them to cave. It's like, oh, okay, apparently we're not going to have a correction, so they buy wherever, like here or something. Then the correction comes. And then it's like, oh crap, I did it again. I knew there was a correction. So, and then you're going to read about people saying that, well, gold is going to go down here or whatever, so I better sell. So they sell out and then it goes up again. And I mean, at the end of the day, that's why most people never make any sort of money. They cannot buy low. They cannot buy cheap. When it goes up, they worry about it going down because they started off buying high and not buying low, rather selling low. So they think, I mean, they're afraid of doing the same thing. But they never really break the cycle. They just repeat the same mistakes all the time. Think with their, not think rationally. Always short-term focused. Always like, oh, what do I think the miners are going to do tomorrow? I can't stand looking dumb in the short term. I mean, most of us, if you've been in since 2020, I mean, we kind of look dumb for 4 years. But now I think we've been in a bull market for 6-7 months already. and most people, of course, can't see it. When it's obvious we are in a bull market, I mean, it's more obvious this was a bull market than here. It's more obvious here that this was going to be a bull market than here or here. When it's obvious to everyone, everybody gets in. When it's obviously a bear market, nobody gets in. So if you buy cheap, and that's what I keep saying all the time, I'm not good at selling, I'm only good at buying. Kinda. And I do value shuffling, that's the only way I sell. I find something cheaper. But if you bought all the way down, increase your share position, you wouldn't care if this was, oh, it's going to consolidate for a while. Well, you lowered your average to down here, so you're in the green already. Being able to buy cheap solves pretty much all your problems. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of, it's funny, this post really went off the shorts, almost for this space, it kind of, got viral. But I found a clip, very good clip. I probably watched it before, but it's like I thought it was time to, because I have been absolutely going insane, which the next slide is going to show. Pierre Lassonde said this 3 months ago, or it was published 3 months ago on YouTube. Gold equities are not priced as if gold is 2,000. They are priced as if gold is going to be 1,500. There's a disbelief out there, and don't ask me why. I've never seen it in 40 years in this business. The gold equities lagging so badly. And I just, what does this mean? Because he doesn't say it up front. I mean, for any value investor, it's kind of clear. Okay, gold is at 2,000. Their price like gold is at 1,500. So I have a $500 margin of safety. Great. Absolutely great. Even if gold goes down to 1,500, I paired a fair value. And there's a chance gold doesn't go down to 1,500, then I bought really, really cheap, even in the future. Well, what this means is that he's never seen the value of the gold business and the price of the gold business be this wide in his career, which is over 40 years. So that means these, especially gold juniors, because that's what he's talking about, are the most no-brainer buys in over 40 years. And that's not enough. I've seen quite a few people comment to some of these posts, for example, that, oh, I've lost so much money in juniors, you shouldn't buy juniors, you shouldn't buy minors, you should only buy gold, I lost so much money. It's like, oh, I don't know, why do you think you lost so much money? Why do you think you never made any money in gold juniors or gold miners? Could it be that you bought high, then they became the cheapest in over 40 years, and you still couldn't buy? And you sold, and then recommended everyone else to not buy. And that's what I keep saying with people complaining why these juniors aren't doing better. But look, even if they're the cheapest in 40 years, the most no-brain, blatant buy opportunity in over 40 years for anyone with some common sense and can do some numbers and has a faint idea of what value versus price is, and have heard the term buy low, sell high, that should be more than enough to buy. But that's not enough. That is not enough. The most obvious opportunity in 40 years is not obvious to majority of people. And they're not going to say it is. They're going to say you shouldn't own juniors because they've lost money on juniors. And the mining business sucks. So again, let's say new people get into this sector. They see a bunch of people that are saying sell, aka not buy, even if it's the best layup in 40 years. So is that going to make somebody who doesn't understand the sector buy? Nope. So even if the people who have been in the sector got burned, if they're not even to buy at the cheapest levels in 40 years, how could we expect people that don't even know about the business to identify this? If the very people who are obviously aware of the sector can see this as a buy, how are we expected to uh, think that people who are not aware of this sector see this as a buy? And I mean, and from PS gold is at $2,700 now. On my part, since I'm very good at buying low, and the most important thing I look at is price versus value, and this is the price of gold, or it was yesterday. And I saw a slide, I don't think I have it up here, but that showed that the gold producers have the highest margins they've ever had since at least 2007. Probably way before that, because let's face it, I mean, gold was at a low in 2000, then went up to like 2007. So in that case, we might have the highest margins per ounce of gold mine in this space for at least 24 years. What does that mean? Well, that means that the gold business has its highest value right now than it's had in the last at least 2 decades. And that means that an ounce in the ground, for all intents and purposes, have never had a higher value than right now. At least since, I don't know when. Again, the bottom was 2000, so go back to 1980, whatever. I mean, it could be literally decades since this sector was worth this much. Literally worth this much. Producing this much cash flow. Producing this much value from an ounce of gold in the ground. And you can buy again some of these projects. Like gold is at 1500 or 1700. It is absolutely crazy. For sure, many of the projects out there, even let's say they have 300-400 million development capex, they might almost throw off that much cash as it costs to build in 1 year. So at spot gold, there's probably payback periods of like 1 to 1.5 years. You get your money back in 1.5 years, then it's all gravy. It's all upside from there. And the mines might be, I mean, if we're talking like lode gold mines, like First Nordic, which could go to considerable depths, like the Kittilä mine in Finland, that has been in production for, I don't know, I think it's going to be in production for like 30 plus years. Imagine if you bought a mine like that, got it built, had today's gold price, got your money back in 1.5 years, and then had 3 decades of free cash, basically. You would pay back the investment multiples and multiples and multiples over that time frame. For the first time ever, you can actually be a real value investor in this space, because the mining sector sucks a lot of the time, and we know that large mining companies squander money. But now the gold mines are literally gold mines. They are making cash hand over fist, and you can buy some of these projects that have, the companies have lower market caps than their projects would throw off in ASIC margin in 1 year. It is absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. I'm going insane. I am literally going insane. This is the, I mean, it's almost disgusting. It's almost disgusting. I mean, I'm more convinced than ever that I'm gonna make a shit ton more of money in this sector, of course, but it's almost disgusting to see if, free market capitalism work like this. That it can get this cheap and without anybody apparently noticing. That is what I think I'm most upset with. That humanity can let this opportunity exist. We should be better than this. We should not. We shouldn't be this dumb. We shouldn't be this like clueless that this can even happen. I mean, as an investor, as a buyer, as a permanent buyer, this is, I mean, I never thought I would get a layup like this. 2015 is the layup I dreamed about for the last, I don't know, 7 years or something. Then the flash crash came. That was almost as good as this, but that was over in a month or two. But to have this, weeks, months of even better opportunity, this should not be possible, but it is. And which brings me to this thing. I can't guarantee this is 100% true, but it's very fitting. Some K Kim here. My neighbor just told me that he went all in long on Nvidia here today for his retirement. Compare these. Again, what is the market? The market is the marginal investor. So you have Pierre Lassonde talking about he has never seen a sector this cheap. Sentiment has not cloaked the fundamentals as much as now. You haven't been able to steal this much obvious value for this kind of price in 40 years. The flip side of the coin is that we at the same time have stuff like this. And of course, let's not forget all the different cryptos. I mean, the funny thing is, like, Dogecoin is up 11%, so I don't know, they might have added 200 million. I think they have like 17 billion in market cap, Dogecoin. I mean, not that everybody can sell, but the people that own Dogecoin, theoretically, if they have sold their 16 billion worth of Dogecoin, I mean, that wouldn't work because somebody have to buy it for it to stay at 16 billion and everybody get paid 16 billion. But it's like, theoretically, for 16 billion, which is the same market cap as Dogecoin, you could pretty much corner the entire junior mining sector easily. You could pretty much buy up the entire junior mining sector, even if you paid like, I don't know, 50% premium for some. I think about it. There's let's say $17 billion parked in Dogecoin, and people are okay with it. And that same amount could basically buy out the entire junior sector. Maybe not the, if you include like foreign mining and Skina and stuff. I mean, they're one is over $1 billion, one is around $1 billion. Maybe not exactly all, but it's like close to it. You could buy up the entire pipeline of mining projects for the price of Dogecoin. But of course nobody does it. Of course. There's barely a single retail investor that has been buying some of these juniors in the recent several months. That is what I'm talking. That is why I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted that humanity works like this. I mean, it's yeah. I mean, it's almost depressing. It's like, are we really this dumb and short-sighted? Can we really, or are we so thick and so, have we forgotten about what value is to the degree that you have to go back decades and decades in time to find another example? It's like a black swan of human stupidity. That is what's crazy to me. Anyway, and something that people shouldn't forget. I've gotten some messages like, "Oh, my explorers aren't moving." Again, focus on the day-to-day thing. And I get it. It's frustrating, especially for people that are impatient and don't really know how it works and yada yada. Still, my point is, okay, so this is how it is, and this is no hidden secret. On good days, meaning like sentiment high days, meaning that typically metals are up, feeling, if people feel like, oh, today I want to take risk, even though there's, I mean, how much risk is it if you buy something for 1/5 of the value? I don't see that as risky. Still, you know what I mean. buying mood. Okay, that's typically comes with high metal prices, right? On a given day, oh, you see a nice chart. Oh, everybody's screaming on Twitter. Some juniors are going up like something materially changed with their projects. Like, yeah, gold is up 1%. All of a sudden, it's like a gold miner is worth 10% more, which is obviously not true. But it might be undervalued by 70% and should be up 200%, so it makes sense that it goes up, but it's not the day-to-day change in metals that really dictates that. So in a sense, every single daily move in all these juniors is kind of ridiculous. But yeah, you get my point, I hope. Oh yeah, so okay, what has been the only thing that's worked in the? I should actually have another chart. Anyway, okay, I can do it like this. Let's take SILJ. I think that's closest to. Yeah, let's go with that. Okay, so what has only worked really from this point in time until especially this point in time? That's pretty much only alpha plays, only exploration plays, only discoveries, a few successful development stories, a lot of them failed, but mostly alpha, mostly high company risk, mostly asking high risk questions and getting positive returns. And there are a few that have done that. All the beta is down. All the beta went down like 80% over this time period. That's how it works. When sentiment is high, like on up days, people want to buy production, people want to buy ounces in the ground, people buy silver junior X with X hundred millions of ounces because they're buying it today because they think that, I mean, they're not buying it because silver is up 3% today. They buy it because they think silver could go up 3% tomorrow and the day after that and the day after that. And then they're like, I mean, if silver goes to $50, all these ounces is going to be worth, 1.5 billion and stuff like that. That's why people buy. But you can't really do that with an alpha play, obviously. If it's especially if it's a very early stage exploration play. I mean, look at Inflection Resources, for example. It's gone down in the last 2-3 days. But it makes perfect sense. Because people get bullish on proven ounces, production, development stories, yada yada, when metal prices are going up. When metal prices are going down and they fear that producers and developers are going to go down tomorrow, they look to have other ways of seeing paper profits in their portfolio in the short term. So when they're scared that gold prices might go down, they go to explorers. When they're afraid that gold prices will continue to go higher, they tend to flock to the beta plays. So it makes perfect sense from a psychological perspective. So that's what you should expect. I mean, if you would have 50-50, like 50% developers, producers, and 50% early stage or relatively early stage discovery plays, or especially pre-discovery plays, on good days, half your portfolio will probably perform. On down days, the same half might very well go down or sideways, depending on the sentiment. But your other half can do better at those times. So obviously, like most people, it's about taking the quickest shortcut, meanings like everybody wants to get rich quickly. So typically on up days like this, and depending what your risk appetite for risk is, people can basically, I'm just gonna go all in beta. The trick with that, of course, is that if you're going all in leverage beta, when the down day comes, it can be quite scary, and you don't have any alpha to, help with that. Because I mean, nobody on earth knows what's gonna happen tomorrow, next week, next month, or even next year in the gold price. We might have something like this coming up. Nobody knows. It could also just keep on going. Maybe it goes to 3,000 and does something like this. And then goes up again. Nobody knows. We just know that it's obviously gonna get swingy. No rally. Now my computer freezed. Or this freezed at least. I hope you get my point. I mean, expect volatility. Not try to predict it in the sense that, oh, I'm gonna be perfectly timing everything. It's like, ooh, my whatever. It's like a sage told me that gold is gonna go down tomorrow. Because I've also shown, again, that miners doesn't necessarily even follow the gold price when sentiment goes from extreme low to getting some momentum. It just carry on itself. Because, I mean, people buy here because they've seen other people make money. So we have no real way of knowing exactly what's going to happen. But you should be prepared. You should be not predicting when the next correction is, but you should, for 100%, with 100% certainty, predict that there will be corrections. There is no bull that doesn't have corrections. No stock that becomes a 5 or 10 bagger doesn't have corrections. A 5 to 10 bagger has many corrections. The question is, how do you deal with them, knowing this? Do you try to predict every single correction? Well, in that case, you're probably never going to have a 5 to 10 bagger. Because you're going to make so many mistakes along the way, and you're going to buy high and sell low. Anyway, some news. Altamira Gold defines gold in soil anomaly at Mombaki target, expanding the Kajero porphyry system. Altamira is pleased to announce further progress in ongoing evaluation of porphyry-related gold mineralization within the Kajero project area. Ongoing field work at the Mombaki prospect, located 1.6 kilometers to the east of Maria Bonita porphyry gold discoveries, to find a coherent gold in soil anomaly measuring up to 600 by 500 meters, coincident with prospective sericite altered volcanic tuffs and breccias. The target is underlain by felsic intrusive, similar appearance to the host rock at the Maria Bonita gold porphyry. Similar appearance to the host rock at the Maria Bonita gold porphyry. And we know what they've been hitting there. Rock chip samples at Mombaki has revealed porphyry-style quartz veining in samples at surface with anomalous gold. The presence of coincident magnetic anomaly and highly altered and brecciated porphyritic rocks makes Mombaki a compelling drill target. It also suggests that porphyry-style gold mineralization at Kajura extends over a much wider area than the initial Maria Bonita gold discovery. You can read the citations here by Michael, the CEO. What I want to focus on is this. Altamira has changed a lot over the last year, maybe year and a half. First it was, well, they always had this Kajira resource, the central deposit. This is already around 700,000 ounces, and I think it's pretty much wide open. I mean, you can easily see that there's high soil samples all the way around, and it's not close up to depth as far as I'm concerned. But 700,000 ounces near surface ounces. Then they made the Maria Bonita discovery here. They also have two other very large projects, but let's focus on Cajero. Then they made the Maria Bonita discovery, and that's far from drilled off. But if we can see, there's a high probability that they at least will have 200,000 to 300,000 ounces of near surface economic gold ounces. Not a guarantee, they don't have a resource or anything like that, but just based on the limited drilling, and it's like, and again, just going, near surface stuff, then you're up at 1 million ounces already. Aura Minerals, which invested in Altamira after they made the Maria Bonita discovery, they are miners' priority number one. They don't even do much of their own exploration, because they basically want to buy projects so they can put them into production. They want cash flow. They want dividends. They have very high dividends, and they're putting, I think, their fourth or fifth mine into production or something. They have a few in Brazil. So knowing what the intentions are or how they operate Aura Minerals, when they invested, they basically are suggesting that Altamira already has a mine. And again, just what is already proven together with that, what is likely there at least, I would say that's a mine already. Infrastructure is great. You can see roads all over the place. There are hydroelectric dams. They bought some farms, so permitting should be quite easy. So this is going to be a mine one day. I'm pretty sure about that, just in its current form. I think the market cap right now is like 25, 26 million dollars CAD. How cheap is that if you think this is high probability 1 million ounce mine at least? Well, now I bet a high 1 million ounce mine here at $2,700 gold is probably going to be worth over 500 million at least. Not 100% sure, but I would guess so at $2,700 gold. So that's kind of the margin of safety we have here. And it's not just me saying that, that's Aura Minerals, and you can look at how they operate. They're only interested in projects that will be mines, or are mines, mine-worthy. But this news is not necessarily about that. This news is highlighting the district scale potential here. Because this is Mira Bonita, where they hit gold porphyry, and that might, we have no idea how much farther that goes down at depth. And I believe the CEO has said that there's multiple phases, and in that case probably one gold rich phase to the top, and there might be a copper gold more classic porphyry lower down. Okay, like porphyry 0. So there might be a gold porphyry overlaying let's say more traditional copper porphyry. And they're finding the same type of material here at Mombaki. And this, I think they have the... Jesus. Ah, okay. Let's see what we do here. Let's go to the... I don't know why it always happens like that. Okay, they don't have the geophysics slide in this one. Anyway, let's look at some other slides. So, okay, they believe, as per Richard Silito, who visited the area and confirmed this is actually a porphyry, they started looking for, okay, if there's a porphyry, there's probably more porphyries, because porphyries show up in clusters. And lo and behold, shortly after, they found this Mombaki, which has a huge magnetic signature. And there's other like ring type structures. And here you have Novosonio. I don't think that's even been drilled. You can see this scale bar right here. That's already 2 kilometers. Cajero Sul, whatever that is. I mean, these are not small soil anomalies either. So Sego, outside of the deposit here, obvious opportunities. Up here, I mean, this hasn't really been explored. I think you have the soil grid lines here. So this is just based, these targets are based on what has been sampled so far. And this could be a porphyry district with porphyry clusters. This looks like it could be near surface. They're finding stuff at surface. Okay, I'm going to jump around here a bit, but so this is the conceptual idea, that you have the paleo surface, basically how it when it formed, that Cajero, which is the central deposit. Okay, I have the slide too. Cajero, which is the central deposit, is here. So there, erosion has taken it down to where gold veins formed. Mombaki, they believe, is the just above where there's a porphyry body. And Mora Bonita is believed to have been eroded all the way down to the actual top porphyry body, the gold-rich porphyry. And that's why it has such an extreme gold in soil profile. And the funny thing is that in a recent interview, Michael even confirms that they thought they didn't trust the sampling here. They thought that such a high and rich soil sample anomaly was explained by there being a paleo channel, basically a place where weathering of gold had accumulated. So they didn't think it signaled a real deposit because it was so obscene. Now they, of course, know that it's actually because a gold-rich porphyry is sticking up there, or yeah, because erosion is taking it down there. So again, here, Mombaki might be here. So there might be an intact gold porphyry underneath that. And I think we can see. Jesus. Let's do it like this. Here you have the geophysical anomaly at Mbaki. Here you have Maria Bonita, barely shows up. Mbaki is a fat one. Here you have a target. Notice this ring structure. Notice this ring structure. Notice this ring structure. Notice the gold draining. Gold in rivers or whatever. Something is shedding gold here. Something is shedding gold here. Something is shedding gold here. Up here, barely, well, no alluvial workings. And still there's a gold porphyry there. I know the CEO, I know Michael, he's very excited about this because now there's, this is, true company making district potential all of a sudden. This was not the case just 2 years ago. Here you have Mombaki, Cerside, Wade Quartz Porphyry surface, and they look a bit reddish, so it kind of looks like potassic alteration. I'm not 100% sure it is, but that's a very good sign. Here's another schematic how they think about, okay, Mombaki porphyry target below tough cover, Maria Bonita subcropping mineralization, and here you have the gold veins, and they then believe that, okay, beneath Caggiero, or the central deposit, there might actually be a porphyry as well. And here you have an anomaly alteration package. So there's definitely a porphyry here. The question is if it's the same as Maria Bonita, and it's just that Maria Bonita is simply the edge of a much larger one, the same system, or they might be two completely different ones. And again, what is this? What is this? What is this? I don't know. Or maybe even up here. Who knows? Because they have the prospective corridor going like that. Anyway, talk about blue sky potential. Personally, I think they already have. I think there's going to be a mine here. I think they already have a mine at these gold prices. That's crazy value, especially compared to the market cap. Yeah. Actually, I've added some Altamira after the news. I think this has become a huge sleeper, mainly. Okay, how does this market function? Well, here you can draw a kind of a resistance line. Okay. Can you guess what the actual company and the gold price did? Let's say here, or let's put it like this. So here you have the gold price. I'm going to do it like this. Here you have the gold price taking off. The gold bottom down here. Gold is up, what, $900 from here to here. The Altamira story has gotten better. And especially with this news release, they made the Maria Bonita discovery. They made another porphyry discovery. There's evidence there's even more porphyries. Again, with gold at 2,700. And the share price is down here. How does that make sense? It doesn't. But if you again understand how this sector functions, you have traders watching a trend line. You have lack of buying because nobody wants to make any money in this sector. Nobody wants to buy cheap, nobody wants to buy low. So okay, goes up here, boom, slam down, not enough buying, not enough value investors to keep it honest. Goes down, tries to do it again, boom, down again, boom, kinda down again, and now we're here. So the gold price has been going like that. Companies' blue sky potential has been going like that, especially over the last 1-2 years. They made a second discovery. They're de-risking it. They bought up the farm, which will make mining easier, and price is down here. Again, this is just absolutely crazy. That's why this sector is. I both love and hate this sector. Sorry, someone tried to call me. Uh, it's crazy. Price down here. I mean, the value gap must have been going like something like that to today here. It's just been ramping. The cheaper it got, and the more value they packed on. Again, it's like I put I think I tweeted this graph, and I tweeted this image, and I just wrote, I think Altamira was at 23 million like 1 or 2 days ago. It's like, I don't know what this is worth, but but I know it's not worth 23 million. Altamira probably has a gold mine, and they could have a multi-million ounce gold district, and it's selling for like 25 million CAD when gold is at 2,700, and just the gold they have is probably worth 500 million plus. It's one of the most. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. So you get multiple shots at porphyries as well. Plus Maria Bonita is wide open. It is one of the crazy stores I know right now. And what I really like again is that you have this combination of huge blue sky potential, especially compared to the market cap, plus margin of safety. You already know you're getting ounces. You already know you're getting like 1 million ounces. That is a very high likelihood of becoming a mine. So it's not just super theoretical 1 million ounces way in nowhere or anything like that. No, this is a good place, near surface stuff, pretty decent grades and all that. No, this would, I think, make a cash cow at today's gold price. So you have that underpinning the whole story. Maria Bonita is for sure gonna grow. They haven't drilled it below like 200 meters or something. And Mombaki, who knows, might be an even bigger discovery. And then you have a bunch of other places that they haven't even tested yet. So at the end of the day, fast forward a few years, what could they have here? I don't know. Several discoveries, 2-3 million ounces, no idea. Plus, because obviously blue sky is higher than that. I think this is an absolute great, hugely asymmetrical bet, and it's not the only one. I'm not saying that this is the only one. I'm saying that after this news, I think this is one of the best ones I know right now that I could also add in. But I also think again that this is a joke. I mean, first of all, this is gonna break out of this unless an asteroid hits the Kajura project or something. So this is just a matter of time, and that's the thing. It's like, okay, traders can keep it down, but the pressure is mounting because the value has been going up, while price has been going down. So now it needs less and less reason for people to like. I mean, if you thought it was cheaper, 35 million or 40 million or whatever, and now they show that they have even more potential than they had when it was trading at 40 million or something, and now it's at 25. I mean, that's gonna need less and less from anyone to like, hey, I mean, this is just way too cheap. And they have like 2 million in cash. It might be one of those cases as well where it's like, someone is hoping that, oh, I hope I can keep it down so I can get into a placement, that kind of overhang, because we're gonna get to that. West Red Lake announces financing package to fund Mastermind. West Red Lake has been kinda not following. West Red has not really followed the latest days of action. And I mean, if we zoom out, it's kind of consolidating in a sense. Now, of course, it makes much more sense. This is a very good uh, placement. I think you get full warrants at like 90 cents. I actually emailed the company asking if I can get up or if I could participate. Not gotten a response yet, so let's see how that goes. I think they actually upsized it, yeah, from $20 to $25. Okay, so an upsize to 25. Again, not surprised if they get this mine into production at today's gold price, and they might get into production within the next 12 months. Of course, they're going to be spitting out cash, and even with the dilution, this is going to weigh. I mean, it's going to blow through 90 cents in that case, I'm pretty sure. Unfortunate, of course, more for the ones who can't get into the placement and don't get the warrants and all that. So it's, I guess, bittersweet depending on if you get the private placement. But my point is that it's kind of obvious the market knew this was somewhat in the works, and obviously you would rather have the price stay here for the financing than to go up to $1 and getting, I don't know, 90-cent stock with $1.2 warrants instead of a full warrant at 90 cent and the stock at 69. So you get stuff like that going on, especially when the market is not strong enough to keep the market fair, so they can play with it. I also think that's what VAM might be suffering from, because it has not really participated. It did well. I don't even know why it sold off here. Well, oh yeah, that was when they put out results, which were not even bad. I mean, they were not barn burners, but they basically said that, oh, we hit another extension with high grades. So it's certainly not shouldn't have had the company go down this much. And now it's down to 28 million. And yes, you can see it's not really participating that much in the. I mean, it's not reflecting. The silver has gone up to 32.6, for example. But again, I think this is the same case with. I think Altamira, West Red Lake, and Western Alaska are kind of in the same boat. They're way too cheap, but the market is either hoping or expecting that they might do a financing, and those people then hope, and they might know they are very cheap, but they hope that the stock does not go up so they can get in cheap in size. So that's another way this market works often. You get shit like that going on. It's like, this is a bullshit price, and it's only possible because people believe the bullshit chart, and nobody's acting on the fact that this is an absolute steal. And Western Alaska, I would say, is also an absolute steal. It's not as de-risked and advanced as, I mean, it's not as close of being a mine, I think, as well, not West Red Lake, nor maybe Altamira, but still 28 million CAD for a, what do they have, like 80 million ounces AG equivalent, I think it's, or 75 maybe, 1,000 grams per ton AG equivalent grade with a brand new, with a kind of what appears to be a whole CRD district to explore, and the latest news showed that hey, there's more to be found here. So yes, if we're talking what the value could be having this CRD system longer term, with silver prices at these levels and zinc doing well, I mean it's a joke. How many unmined big CRD systems in the US or North America do you know of? There's a few, and they're legendaries. Well, the ones who have been mined are, the Tintic and Santa Eulalia and stuff. They were like mined over 100 years or something. Immense wealth came out of them. This is not I mean, this is in 2016 you could get up to 28 million market cap if you had a good soil anomaly. They already have 75 million ounces of resources of bonanza grades and a whole district to prove up, because these CRD systems can be huge. It's not like some types of deposits which can be just very small and rich. No, they have just drilled the edge of a CRD system. So all the mineralization between the edge and back to the source is left to find. So yes, we're gonna look back at both Altamira, West Red Lake, and Western Alaska one day and see, Jesus, it got cheap. But yes, they became too cheap for somewhat artificial reasons. Had nothing really to do with value, because the value is multiples, I would argue. I think Altamira probably should be at, I don't know, 65 million already. Western Alaska, probably the same. At least. Red Lake, not 100% sure. Problem is that, okay, the last mine failed, but yeah, I mean 50% higher, I would still think that's quite cheap. So yeah, I mean there's absolute bargains out there. So even though we've had a few days of action here recently, it's not, I mean there's just some, because again, it's not like every single junior has participated. Altamira is probably cheaper than it has ever been, despite that gold and silver has done well recently. Western Alaska might be the cheapest it's ever been. Some have reacted, yes, some have gone up in price. Some have not for reasons, and again, they tend to be like we saw in West Red Lake. Market keeping it down, market keeping it too cheap. What happens after, let's say, companies do financings when they're too cheap? Then they start to rip again. That's typically, that I've seen a bunch of times, and someone even pointed that out, I think, in the West Red Lake, where was it? I think someone just typed that Skina did like 140%. Did I miss that? I don't know, somewhere, I'm pretty sure I just read it, that yeah, Skina up 160% in 4 months since announcing financing. That project is long further from production. So that's what I mean. Typically, you can often see that some stocks underperform because the market hopes there's a financing or expect there's a financing coming, which may or may not be true. But even if it happens, that tends to be marked a low. So those, in my opinion, the stores that are very much intact, or even better than they ever been, and they're lagging for reasons like that, which is just basically postponing the big potential payday. Those are the ones I think I would be really looking to rotate into once, let's say, the more easy to move place who doesn't have that kind of overhang has revalued and you made some profits on. Anyway, thanks for listening. Consider me biased. I own shares of all the companies I mentioned, I think. Some are banner sponsors. Not investing advice, not a buy or sell recommendation. Don't invest money you cannot afford to lose. I don't share your profits or your losses. Don't buy anything just because I like it. You have to know why you buy something, otherwise you're gonna sell it low and buy high. Yeah, thanks for listening, guys. Bye bye.